Yeah, so my name is Odegua, and I'm a full stack engineer at a company called Kalikor. We're in the AI and simulation space, plus modeling as well. And yeah, I have lots of experience with startups, founding engineer, building B2B apps, B2C, SaaS platforms, and all that. And yeah, my spare time, I do open source work as well. There's a popular data processing library called Down4JS. Has about I think about 5,000 stars. And if you've used pandas in Python, it's basically the JavaScript equivalent of pandas. Yeah, I do lots of AI projects day to day, and also on my personal free time. My latest project is called ByteMind, and I think I linked it. So it's basically an AI-powered app to learn anything. So it uses AI agents in the background and turn your idea or your curiosity, any topic, into structured content. Yeah. And then what else? Oh, I just closed it. So give me a minute. I totally forgot that was a browser. Mm, just a minute. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. And yeah, you can connect with me, GitHub, LinkedIn, on my website as well. So yeah, what am I talking about today? Is lightning talk, so I'm gonna try and be fast. It's basically a smart calendar that you can chat with. So I'm gonna show a quick demo. I tried to do the demo on my phone when I came in here, but I could not get the dev build to start up because it's on a different Wi-Fi. So I have this pre-recorded video just to show you briefly what you can do with the app. So yeah, what it does is that briefly it connects all your calendars. So you can have Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, Outlook. Those are the three calendars are integrated. And you can basically chat to it. So you can talk about your schedule in natural language. You can use it to create events, update events, delete events, basically manage your entire schedule all with text. So you can see I'm asking questions. And in this demo as well, I did an update, but it's kind of fades that. And then I added a please at the end, and it's actually tried to do the update. So yeah, has like a confirmation modal because you're doing something a little bit risky. So it kind of like confirms with you, is this the event you want to update or is this the event you want to delete? And you can kind of like confirm that. And then I think the last thing I did there was to do a delete. Yeah, quick deleting of events. It searches all your calendar. So if you have more than one event with a particular keyword, it can pull out all the events and ask you to pick the one you want to do. So yeah, basically that's. And if I go back here, I kind of like tried to list out the problem, why I decided to build this. But to be fair, I actually decided to build this because I saw a tweet from someone that said, oh, what I would give if I can chat with my calendar. I was like, oh, that's actually a cool idea. And I was like, I wanted to do some stuff on agentic AI and kind of doing some RAG with real world data. So I was like, okay, let me try out this project. So that was how I started building this. So the problem is that you have multiple calendars. So if I want to check my schedule today, I go to Google Calendar, check my work schedule. Sometimes I have Apple Calendar events and all that. I go to different places to check my schedule. They are all siloed, context switching, poor discoverability. I found out that at the moment we have Apple Intelligence in our phone, but I tried to chat with it to get my schedule. It failed, and it's 2025. You'll be surprised. Apple should have done or fixed this at this time, but it's still really bad. You can't talk to your calendar at the moment. So stuff like when did I meet Sarah last about Project X should just be able to pull up the details from your calendars. And then there's delimited intelligence. Calendars are static, not conversational. So the vision was like, why should I not be able to do this? I should be able to just say, we're scheduling my 2 p.m. meeting for next Tuesday, and it goes and do that for me. Can I have a donut with somebody this morning? Checks all my schedule, and just tell me, no, you have an event, or yes, you have 2 hours of free time. Just, just tell me. So I should be able to do this in July 2025 with all the technology that we have. I should be able to do this. So yeah, that was just the goal. And so how was this solved? Well, first you have to get data. So multi-source sync, Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, and Outlook. So Google Calendar and Outlook have an API that you can connect to, so you can pull data, you can pull calendar events, and iCal, which is Apple Calendar, you can, if you're on an iOS, you can basically sync the local events directly. So that's what I did. And then you can chat with it in plain English. I connected that to OpenAI LLM. And then another thing I did also was you can do semantic search. So you can search by context and not just keywords. I'll talk about how I did that briefly. And then scheduling, when you say, okay, I want to go for coffee tomorrow, it automatically search your events and tell you, oh, you have a conflict. There's already an event there. Do you prefer this time? So you can do smart conflict detection. So what is the tech stack? Quite straightforward, because I wanted it to be a mobile app and I don't want to write native code. I use React Native, so you can deploy to both iOS and Android from one code base and even web as well. And I use Expo to manage the entire build process and everything. Backend was Superbase, powered by Superbase, so everything from auth to database to vector embeddings, which you'll see in the architecture, to edge functions, all came from Superbase. And then I used OpenAI for the LLM, and I think I later switched to Gemini, because as the last speaker said, it was really cheap. So I actually switched to Gemini. And the architecture is an agent-based processing pipeline, so multiple agents doing different things. And then the data came from Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, and Outlook. And this is the quite straightforward and simple architecture. So you have the native app. It requires local or OAuth access. So for Google Calendar and Microsoft, it requires OAuth access. So you basically have to log in with your details and give me permission to access your data, your events in your calendar. And then for Apple events, I use a library called React Native Calendar. It pulls the calendar events locally from the device. So we put all this from the different sources, and I did like a normalization. So they were kind of like structured differently. So I normalized that into a single structure and saved them in a Superbase table. And then as soon as they're saved, there was a database trigger that automatically takes each event and embeds it. So we embed that so that they can be searchable later, so that I can say, do I have any swimming events? And it can take swimming and match that to like relevant events based on context and not just keywords. Because if you go to Apple Calendar today and you search for swimming, it's going to try and match in by exact keyword, which is sometimes not useful. So as soon as the calendar events are saved, a database trigger runs, and then we embed that and save that as embeddings in another table. And then from the app, if the user sends a query, like for example, what do I have tomorrow? We take the user query plus their current time zone, send that to an edge function, which is like a chat handler. It sends that to a query analysis agent that analyzes the query and kind of like wants to know what the user wants. Is the user asking for information? Are they trying to update? Are they trying to delete? So it has to know the intent of the user. So it analyzes the query to find that intent. As soon as it gets that intent, it passes it over to the calendar data agent. This takes that intent and pulls the relevant information. So for example, if the user is searching for something, it runs a search. If they want a specific date event, it pulls that specific date. If they want to do a mutation, for example, they want to update, it knows and calls the relevant function to do that. And then it takes all that information and passes it to a response generation agent, which basically just summarizes and formats the answer correctly and sends back to the app. So yeah, so that's the architecture. And then, yeah, some of the components which I've talked about, multi-source calendar sync, vector embedding for search, agent-based processing, and real-time updates as well. And this is the normalized table. So when we pull the data, calendar data from the different sources, normalize them into a single calendar event. And this is just an example of the event embedding table. So you can see it is keyed by the event ID. So we can search them. And I use Superbase GT small model to do the embedding because it's quite free and cheap. So you can switch that out for maybe OpenAI embedding or something if you want more powerful machine. And yeah, so this is the most important part of this entire project, which is the agent-based architecture. And this was kind of more of like a learning for me because another goal, another reason why I actually wanted to build this was that I wanted to build custom agents without using like any library, because there are lots of popular library, ADK, AutoGen, and the LangChain as well. But I wanted to build this myself and see how agents actually work. So yeah, so it's a multi-agent architecture, meaning you have multiple agents talking to each other. And I broke it down into 4 agents. The one that analyzes the query to get the intent, that is literally the first point of contact. So once the user asks, kind of like sends a query, it goes to the query analysis agent, and it breaks the query into 3 different operations or query type. There's a keyword search. So if I'm trying to search for something, do I have any swimming event? I'm trying to search for something. So you say, okay, that's a keyword search. Send that to the calendar data agent. Tell it to do a vector search and find all the relevant events that relates to swimming. Take those relevant events that relates to swimming plus the user query and send it to the response generation agent. So the response generation agent takes all the events, takes the user query and be like, okay, you want something related to swimming. These are all the source of data I have. I can summarize and give you a response. If it's a date-specific agent, for example, if I say, sorry, keyword, query type, for example, I say, do I have any event tomorrow? Tomorrow is date-specific, so I can just go to my database, get all the events for tomorrow, pass that alongside with the question to the agent, and it can formulate a response. And then for event operation, if I want to delete or I want to update, that's basically an event operation. I want to do something. I want to perform an action. It sends that to this agent. So if I want to delete, it means I want to delete something. So it has to go find that event. So if I say I want to delete the dancing event I have tomorrow, it's going to combine those stuff, get the relevant event that I want to delete, and pass that to the response agent. So yeah, so that's basically the breakdown of it. And for all this, I just created a simple, kind of like a TypeScript-based pipeline where you can add agents in different steps because most of these agents, they'll either run in parallel or they run sequentially or they run in a loop or they are conditional, kind of like 4 different types. So this architecture, yes, is that query analysis agent sits in front of it, passes to either calendar data agent or event intent agent based on a condition. So there's a condition in here. And then the next step is the response agent. So if you notice what I did in the pipeline here, I first added the query analysis agent, and then there's like a conditional agent here that says, okay, if the query type is event operation, you call this agent, else just move on to the next one, which is the calendar data agent. So kind of like a simple pipeline. And if you've used agent tools, this is really familiar because you kind of like build your agent in different steps like that. And then you execute it with a state. So it has like an initial state, which for this example I just used like a simple object for that, which all the agents can write to. You can write to that state. Yeah, definitely not production ready, but for understanding it works. And then, yeah, this is like an example of the query analysis agent. It extends a simple base agent. The base agent just takes a prompt, a system prompt, and calls an LLM. That's just what it does. It's very simple. It takes a system prompt, calls an LLM, return the result. So it just extends that. So this is the system prompt for this agent, and it just calls this LLM with that system prompt. it gets the answer, and you can see it mutates the state and sends back the response. Yeah, so that's an example of the query analysis agent. These other ones do the same thing. And then there's like the agent flow, which I think is familiar already. Starts, goes to this. Is this an event operation? Goes to this agent. This date specific, goes like that. You get the response and you go to the end. It's going to move quickly. And so some example, what's on my schedule today? Today, date specific. I don't need to go search. So I just need to get the current day and just pull those events. Do I have meetings about product launch? Keyword search, you need to search something related to product launch. So that's a vector search. So it's going to pull all the events that are talking about product launch and use that to answer. Cancel my 2 p.m. meeting tomorrow. That's an operation. I want to do something. So I want to delete an event. So the query type is event operation. So it maps it to the correct agent. Same with all these as well. And this is just an example of the shared state between an agent. So you can see it's just an object, key value store. And all the agents can write to that particular object. And once we have a response, we know that this is the final response, and we'll send that back to the user. I just added some of this here. And there was also an issue with syncing the calendar. So for example, what happens if I added a new event after normalizing all my data at the beginning? So the user comes to the app, sync all their data, and they start asking questions. So what happens if I add a new event outside the app to my Apple calendar? Well, I don't have, time. Okay. So yeah, so basically how to fix that, did the background sync, and from time to time, it automatically pulls the fresh data, re-embeds it, and updates the vector embedding. Yeah, so that's it. I think I learned some lessons on this, some things around vector search, nuances, generic model needs domain tuning, hybrid search. So it's good to combine vector and traditional search. That's important to know. APIs are inconsistent. Apple Calendar does not support real-time updates. I just found out from building that. Time zone hell is real. I mean, lots of people understand this. And then user experience, speed is important. Try to stream in response. If you're building LLM apps for users, try to stream in the response to the user instead of having them wait to get the entire response back. And then show sources. So if you notice, I showed like the event source that the information was gotten from. So this is very good to earn trust. Yeah, and that's it for me.
Fantastic. That's great talk, I think. Any questions on this?
Thanks. That looked like a really interesting project, especially the fact that you built out all the component parts and really explained it like very well and transparently. Building it up from scratch, very insightful. The name that you use, how do you decide? Because I find I get confused with how people refer to multi-agent systems, because typically when I see like agentic workflows,
Yeah.
each step gets referred to as an agent, and it confuses me.
Yeah.
Because I guess it's because Anthropic had that whole building effects of agents, where they define agents as like agentic loops. We have an agentic abstraction there. So yeah, curious how you're thinking about naming what you kind of came across as a
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah, I think I kind of like break them down into what they do, what they specialize in. So if I'm trying to work on a task, for example, this task, I didn't start by just breaking it down into query analysis agents, event intent agent, and all that. No, I started by using one agent. So I had just one big, massive prompt, system prompt, and that prompt says, if you get this query from the user, try to, first of all, get the intent. If you get that intent, send it back, call a function, because you can do function calling, call a function that finds the data. Once you get that data back, use it to answer the question. But I found out that because there were like lots of functions that the agent needs to know about, there are lots of steps, and that one massive prompt was getting so big because I kept adding lots of things to it, and sometimes it's mistakes event intent for calendar requests and all that. I decided to say, okay, let me break this down into specialized agents. So, for example, one just does query analysis, so it's very good at that. Just analyze the query, return the response. And one just does calendar data. Um, um, One is just calendar data specific. Just your job is to fetch the right data. So I think you kind of need to just break the tasks into specializations, different areas. So if you're doing like deep research, for instance, you can have parallel agents that search different domain. So you can say, okay, your job is to use Google Search API, search these specific areas of the internet. Your job is to use DuckDuckGo API, search this specific part, and then you combine the results together into one. So yeah, you can use single agents, but it becomes really unmaintainable quickly, especially when you're doing like kind of like complex tasks that involves different areas. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Mainly about the naming, but
Or the naming, yeah, this is just me just speaking that. So it's like how you name your functions
yeah, is it
in
like
code.
each thing is called an agent as opposed to like a node within a node, or
Yeah,
like a different agent, like something like deep research
yeah,
is a standalone agent that's fully autonomous and
yeah.
proprietary built, is its own agent within universal systems.
Yes. So basically, the agent, when we say agent, is just an LLM that has tools. So ChatGPT with tools is like an agent. So if I can be the search agent and I give it a tool, the tool is just Google search tool. So you can once you give it a question, it calls Google search tool and use that to answer your question. So that's an agent. If I can have a flight agent that has a flight API too. So once you're searching for flights and you ask it a question, it uses that too. So I think the agent is just like an umbrella term for like an LLM that has access to tools. Yeah.
Cool. Any more questions? Yeah.
Yeah, just a quick up from me. You mentioned when the data is coming from the outside, that could be a bit of a problem to obviously have to put it into the database. And you mentioned periodically plotting the calendars. Are there anything like webhooks that would automatically send any updates to the calendars from the outside you could use to basically have an event-based response so you never get out of sync with it?
Yes.
Unless I missed something.
Yes, the question is, I think, so for Google Calendar and Outlook, they have webhook APIs. So the only one that didn't have it is Apple Calendar. So I had to combine both. So I did a bit of webhook for that, and for Apple Calendar, I periodically did like a background refresh for that. So yeah, just combine both, yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Nice presentation. I wanted to ask about like more of like the Philium process you encountered, because like agent goes through different processes, make different decisions. About just what we're talking about it, and more like what was your core Philium roots like, that you experienced while running agents?
So I didn't do a val. I just did like back and forth fine tuning of the system prompt. So, but I think the major part that was an issue was actually the intent, the event intent. So, for example, if I wanted to delete or update, that was like the major part. And also, I think there was an issue with my embedding as well. So it was very, how will I put it? It was okayish, but most of the time, if I say I want to delete a particular event, it returns something that is unrelated. So I think to solve that, probably just use a bigger embedding model. So I used a very small one just to save cost. So yeah, so that was another issue. And if you don't provide the right data, the LLM basically fails. So I think the core of this application is actually providing the right data. So the search part is the main bit of this information. The LLM part is quite easy because just give the LLM the right data and give it the question. It can answer your question correctly. The important part is getting the right data, number one, and also being able to embed it correctly so it can kind of like pull data for vague user query. So if I say product launch, you should be able to get all the specific events that are talking about product launch. So yeah, so that was the core. That was the core issue.
Last question for the day.
Thank you very much. That was quite an interesting talk, quite related to what I'm doing at the moment in terms of data mining. It's quite interesting you mentioned the kind of issues you had with embedding.
Yep.
We have similar issues with flat data sets.
Flat. It's a flat data set.
We have different, similar issues with embedding.
Yeah.
What we then decided to do was we then introduced the concept of a vector database.
Okay.
After the embedding, and we use things like LangChain and LangFlow, basically. So the LLM, it interprets the LLM and gives it the wider context.
Yep. Yep.
I think that was the better approach.
Yep.
Thank you.
No worries. Yeah, I think I did something similar as well. So the embedding I did here was put in a database, and we also did like a vector session. But I didn't talk about that part. But yeah, but you definitely do a vector session. So, but the problem was just that the embedding model was too small because a very cheap one, so it was too small. So it was not really as good. But yeah, it can be solved by using a bigger one, but just have to pay more for it. Yeah, this was like a test project. So, and also you can fine tune an embedding model. So you can fine tune the model on calendar data. Yeah. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rising, for helping us down the bar. I think that was great talk. I think we've covered a lot of breadth, from medical devices to immunists to productivity tools.
Hi.
Follow the mic.
Huh?
Follow the mic.
Oh yeah, I need to give him back.
So now we have folks from SIBO who want to announce their event, the upcoming event here. So
Have you applied to speak? Have you applied to speak yet?
Yes.
Who's the next one? The next one.
No,
Have they accepted?
not yet. I want to talk on my formal verification. Confuse them, confuse myself.
Let me go give it to you. Just a mic.
So, as per our upcoming events, we have our AI Signal Spotlight event coming up on the 7th of August. And the AI Signals 25 is going to come on September the 16th. So please look at our website to get the details on the talks. Something as exciting and interesting as well. So we have Kunal for you.
Hello, I'm Kunal. I'm the field CTO at SEO. Thanks for coming. Quickly, we host our own tech conference. It's a community conference every year. We do it in the US, Europe. This time we're doing it in London again. We've had some nice speakers in the past. We had Steve Wozniak this year in Austin, Texas. San Francisco and Austin, Texas as well. This is a QR code for a launch party that we're doing. It's a 1,000-person event, the main tech conference in September, and this one's like free to attend, so you have a lot of AI folks, a lot of founders, it's a great networking opportunity. Again, this one's like free, it's a launch party for our event, so we'll be sharing some like discount codes for the conference at the party as well. But either way, if you can't make it to the conference, do come here. It's at the same location, so just wanted to share that. But yeah. And the main conference is called SEO Navigate, so if you search online, you'll find it. Thank you.
I think the link might not be working for some people, but what we can do is share it in the AI Signals group afterwards.
You can also like search for SEO on Luma, and there's just one active event you'll find there. So Luma is an event app. You can do that later as well.
Cool. All right. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Kunal, for everything. And I think that's a wrap for today. The after party is going to continue in Angel Pub, and I think we have the Yeah, so if you could Google it, I'm sorry I couldn't get the slides up. If you could Google for Angel Pub, I think bulk of us will be heading there. So all those who have missed out alcohol and had your zero alcohol drinks, you can go, drink to your full. So thank you for coming over for AI Signals 24. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and hope to see you soon on future events. Thank you.